out they go. The mechanics all stand and watch and ready to dive onto the dummy grid if their driver cannot get going. But it looks like we have all 22 drivers off and running. And it'll be Malizia and McDonald on row number 1. Petele in kart number 238. The Praga kart of Petele. How is that? Normally, that is a very, very distinctive regal purple and silver coloured livery on a Praga kart from IPK Karting. And, well, there's no missing our poleman, Arno Malizia, the Trefle racing team. It's a French team, but it's got the Irish Shamrock on all the team kit. So, the Frenchman hoping for a little bit of the luck of the Irish in the next 10 laps. Behind the top 3, the number 273, Joey Van Splunteren, going through your screen there. On the Gillard chassis. Oldest, most experienced driver here, 25 years old, Van Splunteren. Then it is Quique Bordas, the leading Spanish driver in the field in kart number 254. Jan Bouvier, the Frenchman on the Techno kart in kart number 230. On row 3, Josh Skelton from the UK, and from Israel, Ido Cohen on row number 4. Then Carlos Saval and Oliver Clark from the People's Republic of Kings Lynn on row number 5. Nicolas Schoel from Austria and Antoine Perceval from France on row 6. Oscar Palomo from Spain and João Ferreira from Portugal on row number 7. From Spain, Alejandro Martinez Jorne and Simão Ventura from Portugal on row number 8. Row number 9. Niels Koelen, who is being coached and mentored by Joey Van Splunteren, and Vincent Marcero on row 9. Lewis Kent, making his return to karting after a 2-year absence, will start in kart 222 on the back row of the grid alongside Mari Solis Poulsen, and that is a false start. The formation was a bit tardy, and you can see the red light staying on, and the drivers will slow down and signal to one another to get back into formation as they go through turn number 3. And a couple of stragglers at the back of the pack not in the correct formation, so we will go around again. And Mario Soli Poulsen was the driver at the back of this 20 strong field in kart number 217. And there is Van Splunteren, the Sichting Signmind Racing kart. And Van Splunteren is coaching Niels Koelen, who only started karting last year, or just over 12 months ago. Niels Koelen, the 15-year-old, in kart number 313. So, we're going to go around again. Now, there was me expecting and thinking, any time now, the leaders are going to slow down and bring themselves back into formation, but they chose not to, and now they slow down. Well, obviously, somebody up near the front decided that their tyres weren't as warm as they'd like them to be, and what better way to ensure that your tyres are to your liking in terms of temperature at the start of a race than by somehow manufacturing a false start. But the only problem with that is that the clerks on the circuit are wise to such tactics, and we now see a red flag. Now, what will happen, ladies and gentlemen, back home watching on TV, is that the drivers will be brought to a specific point of the circuit. They will be stopped by a slightly terse official who has not been happy that his lovely timetable has been ruined by unscrupulous drivers at the front of the grid trying to get a couple of extra laps in. And the front row drivers, Mr. Malizia in kart 237 and Mr. McDonald in kart 249, may be invited for an audience with the clerk. It'll be one of those conversations where one party nods and says sorry, and the other party explains the correct starting procedure of a kart race. And then they will be told in no uncertain terms that if they don't start the race the next time of asking properly, their hard work from qualifying will all be undone and they will find themselves starting at the back. So here we go. There is the official. There is the drivers. Oh, and there is the summons. Oh, and he wants them all 20. No discrimination here. Everybody can have a little chat, and he's the international sign language of karting. And it appears as though, despite their experience, the fact that in this race we have national champions, people that have been European champions, they are being informed as to the error of their ways. And as you can see, the conversation is a one-way ticket. So, Mr. Malizia, Mr. McDonald, Mr. Petelet, and Mr. Van Splunteren, who's thinking, I stopped this 7 years ago, and here I am again. Now, they go back to their carts. The official will give them the signal to refire their engines. Of course, this is where the mechanics are now getting very nervous. Will the engine start? Especially the drivers at the back of the grid who haven't done anything wrong, will their engines refire? And 20 karts do spring back into life. And off we go. Now, I am a betting man, let's be fair. And I would cast a heavy wager that we will get a nice, clean start next time around with 20 karts in 2 very, very nice straight rows of 10. And already it appears as though the poleman, Mr. Malizia and Mr. McDonald on the outside of the front row are getting themselves into formation. And let's have a look. Well, who's been tweeting us here at RGMMC? Well, Teo Martin, who's seen his young driver, Ruben Moya, win the opening junior heat. He is tweeting away. Well, hello there, Teo. It's been a bit of a stressful time for you so far this weekend, but hopefully now it's all going according to plan. But that we'll catch up with the Twitter feed shortly. On the track is where the action is going to be. Malizia in kart 237, McDonald in kart 249, Petelet in kart 238, Van Splunteren in number 273. Then it is the 254 kart of Kike Bordas and the 230 of Jan Bouvier. Behind them, the 236 of Josh Skelton and the number 235 of Ido Cohen. Then the number 239 of Saval and the number 251 of Oliver Clark. Then 225 Nicholas Scholl and 216 Antoine Perceval. Here we go, through turn number 13. Watch for the tram lines. They're all in them. Lights are out. We are racing at last. Good start from the poleman. A poor start from McDonald, who gets shuffled wide. He's going to lose 1, 2, 3 places. Oh, and the poleman running a little bit wide through turn number 1 there. And he somehow managed to hang on to the lead. Somebody goes grass tracking. That was Milan Petelet from third on the grid. And there's a bit of a concertina effect down at turn number 3. But it's Malizia who leads from number 254. Great start from Kike Bordas from 5th on the grid. He's up into P number 2 and had a little sniff at the lead going through turn number 1. Dean McDonald is not in the top 4. In fact, looking back, McDonald has dropped out of the top 6. So a poor start there from the outside of row number 1. And it's the Coles Racing kart of Josh Skelton I can see in 5th position. But the top 4 have broken clear. Malizia followed in close quarters by Bordas. Then the number 239 kart. That is Carlos Saval. Great start from Saval. Behind the leaders, there's a problem down at turn number 13 as a few drivers missed the chicane and a change for 3rd place. That's the 225 kart. Well, Nicholas Scholl from 11th on the grid in kart 225, moving into P number 3 at the expense of Carlos Saval. Saval now is Scholl, the Austrian, up into P2 at the expense of Kike Bordas. And there's Josh Skelton in kart 236, the Coles Racing driver from Dereham in Cumbria, the north of England. Skelton moves into P number 3. Scholl second, Skelton, then Saval, Bordas, Oscar Palomo running in the top 6, Ido Cohen up to 7th. Oliver Clark running in 9th, looking down. Well, Dean McDonald down in 20th and last place. Now, I saw drivers going through the turn 13 chicane at the end of lap number 1. One of those drivers must have been McDonald. Peterlet also with problems. He's down in 14th place. And the race leader, the pole man, Arno Malizia, in car 237, is beginning to ease away. Problem coming out of turn number 5. That is Dean McDonald out of the race in the number 249 car. So McDonald becomes the first retirement of the race. There's the number 240 kart. Losing a place there, the Croc Promotions driver, João Ferreira, the Portuguese man, the Mad Croc kart. And that puts Ferreira down in about 10th place. Still not a bad first lap for him. Jan Bouvier in the Techno kart has dropped down to 16th position. And Joey Van Splunteren is down in 11th in kart number 273. So, a real shuffling of the order behind the poleman as Skelton takes second place now in kart 236. So, Josh Skelton there in 236 ahead of Nicholas Scholl. Now, Scholl may be Austrian, but he is driven in the British Championship alongside Skelton for some time. There's Ido Cohen, the Israeli driver in kart 235. Oliver Clark, the M Sport driver, sets the fastest lap of the race. Now, Oliver is the lightest driver in the field. He's got more lead on his kart than anybody else, 30 kilos nearly, and a full tank of fuel just to get Oliver up to the weight limit. And that puts an awful lot of stress and strain on the chassis. So Oliver is driving knowing that he can't clip the curbs because he's literally been snapping chassis because the chassis weigh so much with all the lead on them. But he's made good progress, set the fastest lap of the race, and is up into P8 at the moment. But they're all chasing. Arno Malizia coming into turn number 13 and on to another lap. This will be the conclusion of lap number 4. And Malizia leads by nearly a full second, although Skelton was a tad quicker last time around. But Skelton's under pressure from Scholl. Skelton slips back to 3rd place. Carlos Saval in the number 239 kart, that red and white AC Motorsport machine with the bright yellow flecks at the corners of this rear bumper. He is there in P4. Then there's a slight gap back to Ido Cohen, and battling away with Ido Cohen is Quique Bordas in kart number 254, the Spanish driver. Bordas now moving past Cohen into 5th position. Oscar Palomo runs in 7th place, followed by Oliver Clark. Then it's Van Splunteren. João Ferreira rounds out the top 10. And then it's the number 232 kart of Spain's Alejandro Martinez. Milan Peterlet fighting back into 11th place now. Jan Bouvier still down in 16th position. But up at the front, as we move into the second half of this race, Malizia leads by 7/10 of a second. Last time around, Malizia a 58.16, a 57.9 for Nicholas Scholl. So Scholl is catching in that kart number 225. Skelton is 3rd, holding off Saval. Josh Skelton of the Coles Racing team, they had a pretty nasty surprise when they got here to the circuit because unbeknownst to them, they had picked up a couple of passengers en route, a couple of passengers who thought that the British licence plate on the Coles Racing truck meant that the Coles Racing truck was going to Britain. Little did they realise it was travelling 3,000 kilometres away from their intended destination. Needless to say that the local Garda were on hand very quickly to relieve the unintended passengers of their ride to this circuit. They haven't been allowed to stay as spectators. But it was an interesting start for Coles Racing this weekend, and it's looking like it's a very good continuation of it because Skelton from 7th on the grid, challenging for the leaders, and the leaders are catching. No Malizia back in the pack there. Battles going on between Lewis Kent, Paulson, and Koolers. Koelen rather, the Dutchman. The number 216 kart of Antoine Percival has slipped to the back of the field. 19 drivers still running, but that 7/10 of a second advantage held by Arno Malizia has come down to nothing. Scholl, Skelton and Saval have caught the race leader. Now, can they pass him? Because so far, Malizia has proved to be a rather tough nut to crack into turn number 3. Oh, and Scholl wasting little time. They both run wide. Scholl over the grass. Well, Scholl went in very deep, and they pushed the leaders offline. Somehow Malizia comes out in front. Scholl back into third place. Carlos Saval takes advantage and moves into P2, and there's Scholl back up the inside into turn number 3 of Saval. Skelton now slips to 4th, and coming into play is Kike Bordas in cart number 254, Ido Cohen in cart number 235, and there's the number 251 M Sport cart of Oliver Clark, who still races as a junior in the UK, but he can race as a senior in Europe. He is there in 7th place, and look for the very dark liveried cart of Joey van Splunteren coming into the back of your screen. The experienced Joey van Splunteren in 8th place now, with Oscar Palomo right behind him, and that kind of concertina effect started when Scholl went in a little bit too deep on Malizia, forced them both offline. Malizia was able to stay on circuit. Scholl had to cut across the grass. The back of that lead group, which is now about 10 strong, is Milan Petele. Well, Petele started this race on the grass, and the number 238 Praga cart, that purple cart, predominantly purple and silver cart, at the back of that lead group, he has caught back up and now potentially has a chance for a solid result. We're on lap number 9 out of 10. Oliver Clark in cart 251 passes Ido Cohen. There's Van Splunteren in 273, looking to pass the Israeli driver but can't get through. Still, Malizia leads the race. Scholl, Saval, Skelton giving chase. Then it's Kike Bordas, Oliver Clark, Cohen, Van Splunteren. In fact, look at that. Oliver Clark now up into 5th position. And Clark goes through turn number 12 into turn number 13. Malizia hunkers down behind the Nasr panel as they start their final lap. Well, he knows he doesn't have to defend just yet. If he starts to defend, he's going to bring everybody in. If he just holds onto his racing line, not sure if Nicholas Scholl can catch him. Through turn number 4 they go. Now into turn 5 and 6. The left-hander bringing the speed up. Scholl still 2 cart lengths back. There's Kike Bordas in 254, holding on to a top 6 position. Hard on the brakes for turn number 9. Through turn 10 they go, and still Malizia leads the race. I don't think Scholl's going to catch him. Scholl will now start looking behind him to see where Saval and Skelton are. Down the back straight, through turn 12. Arno Malizia. We said he needed the luck of the Irish. That shamrock is working on the team logo. He takes the checkered flag. Scholl grabs second. Saval was trying to make a move as they crossed the line, but he couldn't quite do it. Skelton finishes 4th. Oliver Clark comes home in 5th position. Kike Bordas is 6th in the number 254 cart. Then Joey van Splunteren. Welcome back to karting, Joey. In cart 273, he finishes in 7th place ahead of Oscar Palomo in 8th. Good recovery from Milan Petele to finish in 9th position, and Ido Cohen rounds out the top 10 again. The top 7 separated by less than 2 seconds. Alejandro Martinez Yorne is 11th. João Ferreira for the Mad Croc team in 12th. Then Jan Bouvier 13th. Simão Ventura, Vincent Marcero in 15th. Maris Solly Poulsen from Norway in 16th. And then, well, Joey van Splunteren's protege, Niels Koelen. He finishes in 17th place. Lewis Kent making his first outing in karting for 2 years. Lewis races in the Fiesta Saloon Car Championship and the Sports 2000 Championship in the UK. Having a weekend away karting in Spain with his granddad David. And first time out for 2 years. He finishes in 18th place. Sadly, D. McDonald failed to finish, and also Antoine Percival. And as you have a little look now, there you can see the white-shirted figure of Paul Classen there, just monitoring the nose cones, and he'll take images of anything that has not right. And I think, sadly, one or two drivers in that race may have fallen foul of the dropped nose cone. And when Paul sees the bracket is broken, he will record it, and then the paperwork begins. And it's not a penalty that you can appeal. And woe betide anybody who tries to put their nose cone back on. That is a big no-no. You don't try and put your nose cone back on if it is dropped, because you may find yourself spectating for the rest of the weekend, let alone that race. Well, that is now the first round of heats completed. Every driver here, each one of the 65 drivers competing in the 2017 X30 Winter Cup has now completed one of their 3 heat races. We will wait for the winner's interview. The next race, ladies and gentlemen, is set to begin at 20 minutes past 12. And so what we will do is that we will speak to the winner, well, the royal we. Jenny Wade will speak to the winner. And then we will have a brief break. So if you're watching at home, you can go and put the kettle on, get a cup of tea, and we will recommence. The stream will continue. There may be a couple of very, very entertaining commercials for you to watch. And then we will be back about 10-15 minutes before the next race. Gives us a chance to update the Twitter feed. And so, for those of you watching karting for the first time, and I know there are people out there watching karting for the first time, this is what our sport is all about. And if you're just watching and you're an eager spectator at home and you think, oh wow, well, this looks like a lot of money, look at all those big trucks, look at all those equipments and the mechanics, oh my word, that looks like an expensive hobby. Well, when you get to this international level, obviously it's a highly professional sport. These are young athletes and the costs can be quite significant. However, karting is not expensive. Karting can be as cheap as you like. And if you like the look of what you're watching on the screen, go on the internet, find your local kart circuit, go down there, see what kind of owner-driver racing they do. Even if it's just testing, you can get second-hand karts for not a lot of money. And here we go. Well, there's Nicholas Scholl, who's cropped up. So Jenny Wade's about to interview the young Austrian. Take it away.
Now, Nicholas, we didn't speak with the winner of the race because his French and his English wasn't so confident. But perhaps you can tell us from second place what you were seeing, what was happening there, because it was really a little bit close for a short time.
Yeah, it was really hard start. Came through to 4th or 5th, and then made my way up to 2nd.
Mm-hmm. And just talk us through a few laps there where there was a little bit of dicing going on, a little bit of late braking, and all different sorts of things. In that position, how are you feeling, and what's happening there?
The leader was braking quite early, so I touched him, and then just everyone went into me, and yeah, it was quite hard.
But you managed to keep it on track, and were you surprised with the level of the racing this weekend?
Yeah, the level is really high, and I was quite surprised.
Of course, you're a European champion, so you're expecting, obviously, to have good competition. That's why you are here. Are you feeling confident coming into the last 2 races today?
Yeah, I feel really confident. I think we found the pace and should be good.
Okay, and I know you've got a lot of fans out there watching today, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay, hi to Austria. They're probably all sitting inside there, and we're enjoying the Spanish sunshine.
Yeah, it's good here.
It's great. We're looking forward to the racing. You've got a short break now, but all your friends can watch us on Telemundi, send you a message on Facebook and Twitter, and yeah, we wish you luck.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and tell Nicholas he can go and fill out his commentator's information sheet, because otherwise he may find a few facts about himself broadcast around the world that, well, may or may not be strictly true. I'm only joking. Konstantin Scholl. I mean,